Good morning, students. This is Abjit. We live in free India, but the freedom which we enjoy today is the result of a long struggle made by Indians. As you know, India was a British colony. Britishers came to India as traders in 1600 and later by taking advantage of conflict among the Indian rulers, they made political control over India. It was in 1857 that the struggle for independence was made by Indians at a large scale. But in this chapter, we will not learn about the revolt of 1857. We will learn about the time period from 1918 to 1947, in what way movements were started by the Indian leaders, and which problems were faced by them, how did they get independence. You will learn about it. It was in 1921 that a nationwide movement, the non-cooperation movement, was started. But which factors were responsible for starting nationwide movement, the non-cooperation movement? You will learn about it. Nationalism in India. Reasons for starting non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement. The first reason was the First World War. The First World War. The First World War was continued from 1914 to 1918. This war was fought between two powers, two world powers, Central Powers and Allied Powers. Central Powers: Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey. These were the leading nations in this group. And the Allied Powers included France, Britain, Russia, and later USA also joined. It doesn't mean that there were only these countries. These were the leading nations. They were supported by their own group. During the First World War, there was a huge increase in defense expenditure, which was financed by war loans and increasing taxes. You know that at that time India was a British colony. Britishers were ruling over India. To maintain war expenditure, there was a need of more money, and that money was collected by the British government in India by imposing taxes. Britishers imposed many taxes in India. The common people were asked to pay those taxes. During that time, there was economic hardship. Prices of the goods doubled. Prices of goods doubled from 1913 to 1918. People had no money. Third, the villagers were asked for forced recruitment. What is forced recruitment? A process by which the colonial state forced people to join the army. Means the British nation needed more soldiers to fight in European countries, and to fulfill that need, the British government in India forcibly said to Indian people to be recruited in the army. Indians were forcibly asked to be recruited in army. Yes. During 1918, 19 and 1920, 21, crops were failed. There was food shortage in many parts of country, and this food shortage was accompanied by influenza epidemic. Influenza epidemic. During that time, during 1917-18, there was epidemic. Epidemic means a disease spread at a very large scale. Due to influenza epidemic, many million people lost their lives. According to census of 1921, 12 to 13 million people perished as a result of famines and epidemics. How many people died during 1921? 12 to 13 million people. You know that in 1921 census was held, and in that census it was noted that 12 to 13 million people were died due to that epidemic and famine. So these were the conditions created due to the First World War. The First World War was started during 1914 to 18 between two major groups of the world, Central Powers and Allied Powers. Central Powers included Germany, Austria-Hungary, Turkey, while Allied Powers included France, Britain, Russia, and USA. At that time, India was a British colony, so Britishers took maximum benefit from India. To finance war, they started to increase taxes in India. Prices of goods were doubled from 1913 to 1918. It was very difficult for common people to fulfill their basic needs. The Indians were forcibly asked to be recruited in army so that they could fight in European countries for Britishers. From 1918 to 1920 to 21, there was failure of crops, and food shortage was felt in different parts of the country, and that food shortage was accompanied by influenza epidemic. According to census of 1921, it was found that 12 to 13 million people lost their lives due to famines and the epidemics. This was the first reason responsible for non-cooperation movement, and the second one was return of Gandhiji. Return of Gandhiji and starting Satyagraha. Gandhiji returned from South Africa during 1915. He launched a successful Satyagraha in South Africa. And when he came to India, he found that there was need to launch Satyagraha even in India. What is meant by Satyagraha? A non-violent method to fight against the oppressor. A non-violent method to fight against the oppressor is known as Satyagraha. Gandhiji said that if the cause was truth, if the struggle was against injustice, so there was no need to use physical force. Without seeking revenge, a Satyagrahi could win the battle by using non-violent method against the oppressor. When he returned to India, he travelled Champaran in 1916. In 1916, he travelled Champaran. You can see Champaran in Bihar. In Champaran, the farmers were unhappy with the plantation policies of the Britishers. They were asked to grow indigo, but the farmers were not in favor of it. There were two reasons. By growing indigo, the fertility of the soil was reduced, and second one, they were not gaining good price for their indigo crop. That's why they refused to grow that crop. In 1916, Gandhiji started successful satyagraha in Champaran, and finally, due to the efforts of Gandhiji, in 1918, the British government made some rules for benefit of farmers of Champaran. Then Then in 1917, he started satyagraha at Kheda to support the peasants. Peasants were unable to pay tax due to failure of crops and plague epidemics. Due to the efforts of Gandhiji, the British government deferred the taxes to the next year. Then in 1918, in Ahmedabad, Gandhiji fought for the rights of the mill workers. They were demanding for higher wages. In this way, at three places, Gandhiji launched successful satyagrahas. And the third reason was the Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act was passed by Imperial Legislative Council. According to this act, any Indian could be arrested without any reason and could be kept in jail for 2 years without any trial. It was a black act. This act was passed in 1919. The Rowlatt Act passed on 5th Feb 1919. It was a black act according to which any Indian could be arrested without reason and could be kept in jail without a trial, means without presenting him or her in front of the judge. The Indians protested against this black act passed on 5th Feb 1919. Then Gandhiji started a strike on 6th April. 6th April. On 10th April, he was asked not to enter Delhi. On 10th April, the police in Amritsar fired upon a peaceful procession, provoking widespread attacks on banks, post offices, and railway stations. Because some went on strike, workers went on strike in railway workshops and shops closed down. In Amritsar, two main leaders, Dr. Saifuddin and Dr. Satyapal Kichlu, Dr. Satyapal Kichlu were arrested. Martial law was imposed and General Dyer took command. On 5th Feb 1919, the Rowlatt Act was passed by the Imperial Legislative Council. It was a black act according to which the political prisoners could be kept in jail for 2 years without any trial. Means without presenting them in court, they could be kept in jail for 2 years. The Indians protested against it by saying it a black act. The strikes were held in different parts of the country. On 6th April, Gandhiji went on strike. On 10th April, in Amritsar, due to the protest, some leaders were arrested. They were Dr. Saifuddin and Dr. Satyapal Kichlu. Martial law was imposed to have control over the political leaders, and General Dyer took command of it. After Rowlatt Act, there was Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Jallianwala Bagh massacre. On 13th April, the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. Yes, because 13th April was day of Baisakhi, so many people from the villages gathered in Jallianwala Bagh to celebrate that function, to attend the annual Baisakhi fair, and some were also assembled there to protest against the arrest of leaders. Being from outside the city, many villages were unaware of the martial law. General Dyer got this information. He entered the area, blocked the exit point, and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds. As the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, crowds took to the streets. When people came to know about the Jallianwala Bagh incident, they came out in the streets. There were strikes, clashes with the police. Police also clamped down on the people with brutality. People were humiliated. They were forced to rub their noses on the ground, crawl on the streets, and do salute to all sahibs. People were flogged. Flogged mean they were beaten with whip. And villages around Gujranwala in Punjab, now in Pakistan, were bombed. Seeing violence spread, Mahatma Gandhi called off the movement. Yes, the fourth main reason was Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place on 13th April. Many villagers assembled in Jallianwala Bagh to protest against the arrest of Indian leaders and to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. They were unaware about martial law. When General Dyer got this information, he came in Jallianwala Bagh and ordered his soldiers to shoot. There was only one exit point that was covered by soldiers. Many hundreds were killed, and when people came to know about Jallianwala Bagh massacre, they came out on the streets. To have control over the violence, the British government acted with brutality. People were asked to rub their noses on the ground. They were asked to do salute to all the sahibs. The areas around Gujranwala were bombed. This incident created too much hatred in the minds of people against the British government, and when the non-cooperation movement was started, they participated at large scale. And the fifth one was Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement. Here I told you that the First World War was fought between Central and Allied powers. In First World War, Central powers were defeated. Out of them, Turkey, whose head was Khalifa. Khalifa was the religious head of all the Muslims of the world. When Turkey was defeated, many humiliating terms were imposed on Khalifa. To defend the Khalifa's temporal powers, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in March 1919. Yes. To defend the Khalifa's temporal powers, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in March 1919. Two Muslim brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, began discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of a united mass action on this issue. Mahatma Gandhi found that India could not gain independence if Hindus and Muslims would not participate together against the British. He thought that this was the right time when the Muslims were supporting to the Hindus. And why were the Muslims supporting? Because the head of the Muslims, who was Khalifa, had to give up many of his powers. He was not allowed even to take some decisions about the territories which were under his control, and this was done by the Allied powers. To support the powers of Khalifa, the Muslims in India started to launch a movement. They formed Khilafat committee and in this way started Khilafat movement. Then Gandhiji saw this as an opportunity to bring Muslims under the umbrella of a unified national movement. At the Calcutta session of the Congress in September 1920, he convinced other leaders of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat as well as for Swaraj. Yes, in September 1920, where was Congress session held? In Calcutta. In Calcutta session, he convinced to the Indian leaders to support the Khilafat movement, and in this way, the base for non-cooperation movement was started. Which reasons were responsible for starting of non-cooperation movement? Conditions created due to the First World War. Then return of Gandhiji and starting Satyagraha. Third, Rowlatt Act. Fourth, Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And fifth, Khilafat movement.